What's up, y'all? It's your girl Nick coming to y'all on this beautiful, beautiful day. To talk about the show, The Ultimatum. It's um it's a show brought to us by Nick and Vanessa Lachey. They are the ones who brought us Love is Blind. In this show, the premise is couples come on here with an ultimatum to get married or go their separate ways. And they're gonna they are going to meet other couples and get to live with another person for 3 weeks and act as a married couple if they so choose, and then live with their partner that they came there with for 3 weeks and decide whether or not they want to remain together and if they want to get married or not. Um, Let me preface this video by saying, this review of the show by saying, honestly, I'm going to be transparent with y'all. I was married. I gave my ex-husband an ultimatum, an ultimatum. We got together very young. He was my very first relationship. I gave him the ultimatum after being together for like a year and a half that, maybe the next step should be marriage. I had roses in my eyes. I thought everything was going to go fine and it was not going to be a problem to get married young. Because at that age, at that point, I think I had wanted to start making moves to move out. And in a way, I'm very traditional with certain aspects of my life. And at the time, I did not want to move out and get a place together. And we lived together for a while. And that whole why buy the cow when you get the milk for free? That's where my mind was. So I didn't want it to be where we moved out as boyfriend and girlfriend. And then at some point we break up and he go on about his life and I go on about mine. I didn't want that to happen. So we both stayed home with our parents. He proposed close to the 2 year. We had been together for almost 2 years when he proposed. Um, we stayed engaged and planned a wedding for 2 years. And then by the time the 2 year anniversary rolled around, we had split. There was some splitting, coming back for a hot second, splitting up again. And then coming back again after being separated for like a year and a half, 2 years. We separated and then split up for good. I'm letting you all know this because I see myself in some of these people that's on this show. I know, or not that I see myself, but I know what it's like when you give somebody an ultimatum. And the truth is, what I learned from that relationship is you should never give a person an ultimatum. You don't want someone to do something because you forcing their hand. I feel like you should want them to come to terms with what they want to do because it's what they really truly in their heart want to do. It shouldn't be where you coercing them, coaxing them, and keep badgering them about doing this particular thing. Because the truth is, when a person does something because they were badgered or they felt like, oh, let me do this to please this person, that's not what they really, really want to do. And somewhere, somehow, it's gonna go bad. It might go bad for a second and come back together. But it's gonna go bad when a person is doing something not out of their own volition. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm a firm believer in this. And you can't force a person to change. People change. When people make a permanent decision and a permanent change, they do it because it's really, they genuinely want to do it. So I'm not a proponent for giving people ultimatums of marry me or propose to me so we can get married. Like, don't do that. You want somebody to want to marry you because they truly want to marry you. You want them to come to them terms on their own because it's going to cause problems down the line. So now that I've said that, let's get into the show. So they came there with six couples. Six couples. There's Jake and April. Jake is biracial. I'm thinking April. April is Asian. I'm not sure which what ethnicity, but she is Asian. Okay, they're super young, and I think she learned she's gonna have fertility. She has fertility issues, so she's ready to get married because she want to have kids already. She got babies on the brain. She said ever since she was a little girl, she always saw herself as a wife and a mother. Um, Jake is military. He was in the Marines, I think he said, and like she was with him before he started getting military pay and all that kind of stuff. And he was doing things that husbands normally do, like buying her an SUV. And she thought he buy me an SUV. That means we're gonna put kids in there. But he wasn't ready to get married though. And she and her point was you keep doing stuff that a husband would do, and like we're having unprotected sex. It's not like you are practicing the pull out method or anything. So if I get pregnant, I get pregnant, but you still don't want to marry me. So she was the one who gave him the ultimatum because she wanted she wanted to be married and have kids already. He was totally against this experiment. He didn't want to do it. He let it be known. He said it several times throughout all the episodes of the series that he didn't want to do it. Then we have a couple named Shanique and Randall. They're both black. She gave him the ultimatum. Um, she wanted to get married. Um, he felt like it was. He gave the excuse of which a lot of men do. No, I want to get my finances right first before I get married. But he said the real reason is he just wasn't sure yet. He wanted to. He felt like it was some issues in their relationship that they needed to work out before he said that he will marry her. Um, I'm, my honest opinion, when we first meet Randall, I got the vibe that Randall was either bisexual or gay and using Shanique as a beard. His his mannerisms and stuff like that, Randall gives me gay. And I wouldn't be surprised if they follow them and some time down the line he comes out of the closet. I'm just gonna say that and leave that there. We have a couple with a young lady named Alexis and her boyfriend is Hunter. Now, keep in mind, all these couples have been together for 2.5 years or less, and people are putting these ultimatums on one another at the 2 year mark. And to be honest, as I told y'all from my own experience, 2 years is not enough time to, especially at the ages that they're at, because they are young like I was. That's not like you really still becoming living your young adult life and learning who you are as a person and what your needs are. You know what I'm saying? So I don't feel like that's a great time to be putting the ultimatum on somebody. I feel like it's, and then at the 2 years, like that's, you still got a whole lot to learn about another person and whether or not that you feel like you could commit to them for the rest of your life. Because to me, marriage is supposed to be forever. I know the divorce rate is high, but marriage is supposed to be forever in my eyes. You don't get married to say one day if it don't work, oh, just go get a divorce. You know. Um. So anyway, because divorce takes a toll on you emotionally. It takes a toll. I can tell you from my own experience. Emotionally, it took a toll on me. I'm I operate in my life today still from, I can be honest, still from that hurt place I was at. Even though I'm over it, I've forgiven him and everything, but that relationship ending did something in me and did something to me that I just haven't, like, to this day, I'm going to be completely honest. I don't give people a chance. I don't give people a chance. And I know it's coming from the fear of being hurt. I'm just being very transparent with y'all. So anyway, let's get back to these couples. As I stated, the next couple up is Alexis and Hunter. I think they might be the oldest ones, or he might be the oldest one that was on the show. So he came there with her. She put an ultimatum on him. She wanted to get married. She was ready to be a mom and have kids too. But for her, marriage was a financial decision. She wants to be afforded. She said she grew up. She wasn't rich growing up or anything like that. They were comfortable. But she wants a certain lifestyle. And she wants that certain lifestyle to be maintained. So the man got to make a certain amount of money. And she came there with Hunter. He was just going through the process with her. I forget what reasons he had for not being ready to be married or get married or whatever, but or ready to propose. But I think he said it was financial stuff too. It was some stuff he wanted to do first. Um, I forgot to mention too with April and Jake. Jake was just out of the military, I think he said, and they're still young. He wanted to travel and do a whole lot of stuff, and he knows that if he gets married at this point, April wants to have she wanted to have kids right away and all that stuff. And he wanted to experience life as a husband and wife without the kids, traveling, getting to know each other, creating some memories, and then going to the having the babies and stuff. He was saying that, but he wasn't actually practicing that because, as we said, they were having unprotected sex, and he was not pulling out. So if she got pregnant, she got pregnant. So you can't say one thing is what you want, but do the opposite. So that could be confusing to April. Okay. So Alexis and Hunter. So those two are there. The next couple we have is the couple by what the young lady's name was Lauren, and her boyfriend's name was Nate. Nate brought her on the show because Nate, in his confessionals and behind the scenes, he kept talking about he wants kids, he wants kids, he wants kids, he wants kids. He can't wait to be a dad. He wants kids. Lauren said that she told him she didn't want to have children. She was content with her life. She didn't want to have kids. And as we got to know her, we realized the reason she was saying that is because Nate owns his own business or company. He works a lot. She didn't want to be the one stuck doing the child rearing alone. And that's how she felt like things would go. So that's why she said she didn't want any kids. So they come on the show because he gave her an ultimatum. Then we have a couple by the name of Zay, the guy, and Ray. Ray is short for Rachel. I found out she's biracial. Her mom's Italian. Her dad is black. And she brought her excuse me. She brought her boyfriend Zay on the show because she wanted to do this experiment and see if that's really what she wanted to be. If she wanted it. She wanted him to figure out what he really wanted to do too. She said she graduated from school. I think she graduated and was like a nurse or something to that effect. And she was getting her career going. He did like promoting and parties and influencer kind of stuff. But I will say, the one thing I liked about him, he was very what's the word? He knew how to articulate his feelings. I would say that. Yes, we as the show went on, we saw he stuttered a lot. He had some problem areas where he get emotional and he get upset and he wanted to walk away, or he wanted to get physical and get violent a few times. Whereas with her, she was holding back and she was emotionally gone and cold. She wasn't able to express herself emotionally. But she was the one who was saying she wanted to get married. And they even had a scene where they were sitting across from each other and he asked her, what do you love about me? He was like, I can tell you why I love you and why I want to be with you. So he goes down the list, tells her everything. They show her in the confessional. The producers must have asked her why she loves him and what do you love about him. And she said, can we come back to that question later at the end? And we never get to it. She never comes back in response to that. So them two are there. Did I get all the couples? Shanique, Shanique and Randall, April and Jake, Lauren and Nate. No, I didn't. All right, so the last couple, I think this is the last couple, was Colby and Madeline. Madeline was opposed to marriage. She said she wanted to be free. We find out Madeline's parents got a divorce, and while she was an adult, and maybe that is what jaded her to marriage. Colby really wanted to get married, and he had the ultimatum and brought her on the show. So the show starts with them all. It's this big hotel they staying at. They all get to meet each other and like at the pool or whatever, and they go around, they talking to each other, and they meeting up with each other and stuff like that. Okay, y'all, I'm back. So as I was saying, at the initial meet, Madeline spots Randall and she's instantly attracted. She's talking about she feels a attraction to him. There's chemistry. They sit on the edge of the pool and they talk, have a conversation. It's like, wow, that these people are going to be meeting and seeing other people right in front of their meets. Instantly, we see that Shanique is very jealous. She sees Randall talking to Madeline and she's not feeling it. So we see all the different people talking to one another. We see Colby talk to Alexis, and we all learn that what Alexis' motives are. Alexis want a man with money, so she's questioning every about all the guys about their finances, what they do, stuff like that. Colby looks at her and is like, no, she's definitely not my cup of tea. I'm not into her or whatever. So after that, they have she is so loud. I'm inside. She's outside. I'm sure y'all can hear her. Excuse me. So anyway, so over the course of a week, they kind of like meet up for drinks, still all in front of each other. Meet up for drinks, play little icebreaker games and stuff like that. And we get a scene where Jake tells April, "You drugged me here, kicking and screaming. I didn't want to do this. But now that I'm here, I realize that this whole time that we've been together, we've been doing everything that you want to do." And she tries to say, no, we compromise. And he was like, no, we do not. We do what you want to do. You never asked me how I feel, what it is that I want. You've never asked me that. I do everything to please you. You don't know what my wants are. And he said it took him coming there and being there for that week to realize that. So she walks off, she has a breakdown, and she goes to the side, and I forget who it was. It might have been Nate that went over and talked to and comforted her after that happened. We see that. We see Jake and Ray have a connection. They have so many things in common. They both are super close with their mothers. Their mothers are their best friends. They both are biracial or multiracial. Ray says she's biracial. Her dad's black. Her mom's Italian. This this damn Jake gonna say, "Well, I'm 25% African American." That was so annoying because when you look at him, you can clearly see he's African American. Probably more than a daggone 25% as he says, but anyway. So they have those things in common. Ray is very, very reserved and doesn't express herself emotionally, and that's a problem. You need to be able to say how you feel about things. She was super um, reserved and quiet and stuff like that when it comes to those things. And as I said, Zay, who was her boyfriend, he was very expressive. So they all meet up with Nick and Vanessa for dinner after the first week to ask the person that they were interested in if they wanted to do the journey with them and be like married for 3 weeks. So they go around the table and asking people, to say how they feel, things like that. Um, Zay chose Ray. I mean, no, they a couple. Ray chose Jake. So them two gonna go and live like a married couple. Zay, what's his name? Nate expressed interest. Nate was saying that he was interested in, like in behind the scenes, the confessions and stuff. He was saying that he was really feeling, Shanique, the black girl, and stuff like that. So I was like, oops, she gonna have two guys to choose from because I know she said she liked Zay too, right? So anyway, um, Madeline chooses Randall because they felt the instant connection and chemistry from their first meeting, just like Ray and Jake did. So them that's two couples that's made. Zay, I mean Ray and Jake, Madeline and Randall. Shanique makes her confession and decides to go her profession, and she decides to do the experiment with Zay. Them two go together. She decides to go with Zay. I think she was choosing somebody that she kind of like, thought he was cute or whatever, but she didn't think it would go anywhere because she had shown all week how jealous she was when Randall was talking to the other ladies and all that kind of stuff. She was super jealous. You could see it all in her face. Um, at some point, um, Nate, who's with Lauren, he was gonna try to say that he was gonna want to be with Shanique, but Shanique had chose Zay, so that shoots him down. So he like, damn, what the fuck? So then he looks across the table at Madeline and tells Madeline he gonna choose her, and she's just looking like, what? What the freak? Like, what do you mean you gonna choose me, right? So then that's when Hunter gets up and says, listen, after this week, I'm not playing any more games. I want to marry you, Alexis. Them two came together. They left together. He proposed to Alexis. Might have been genuine. He said he couldn't take seeing her being with another person. He can't do it. So them two got engaged. Then some other people will announce who they're gonna be with, and then that's when. And I'm saying it's not even like, I don't think it was 5 minutes later, after Nate looks across the table and tells Madeline that he's gonna choose her. He gets up. Somebody professed their love for his girlfriend Lauren, or not professed their love, but was basically hinting that they was gonna choose Lauren. He got up and was like, Lauren, I don't want to do, like, will you marry me? And so then that became a big hoopla because April was like, you only doing that. Is that genuine? Like, do you really want to get married to her? Y'all have fundamental issues. Like, she does not want kids. You want kids. And she had talked to Colby. It was telling Colby that she could want kids for the right person, but she felt like Nate was married to his work. He's not going to be there. And she was going to be solely responsible for raising these kids. And she didn't want to be doing it by herself. And Nate made her feel, Colby made her feel comfortable. And I think, yeah, Colby was getting ready to ask her to spend the 3 weeks with him. And Nate was like, hell no. And he went over there and proposed to her. And she accepted his proposal. So they went on their way. So, Colby ended up just going along with Colby ended up making a pact with April. They went into it being just friends, knowing that because they wanted to be with their partners they came there with at the end of this 3 weeks. So they wasn't gonna be doing anything together. So the couples go ahead and they move in with each other. That first night we see Shanique get in the bed by herself, and Zay was like, "I'll take the couch. Like I'm not gonna force because it's awkward. We don't really know each other, so I'm not gonna force you to be in the bed with me." And his little teeny self rolled up on that couch. You see her get out of the bed and go fix the covers on him and all that kind of stuff like that, which was really cute. So they go on, and at some point, they meet. They together for the first week. I think during the second week they got to meet each other's parents, and Ray's father is a race car driver, and he got to meet Jake, and she said that was the first guy that she introduced her dad to that he really liked from the beginning. He really liked Jake, and that surprised her. But when they met up with his mother, they met his mother and one of his best friends. His mother brought up April and threw in her face like April was the she feel like April was the one for her son. And she even said, "Let me go speak to my son alone." And she took him off to the side and was basically like telling him, "You need to stick with Rachel. Don't get caught too deep with this girl." And I'm thinking to myself, do you really know your son at all? He said he tell his mother everything. He talked to his mother about everything, but it gives me that he's not honest with his feelings with his mom, because when we saw the mom talking, she loved April. But when he got back to the table and then got back with Rachel and they was talking, he told her his mom loved her. And I said, not from what I saw, your mother did not love her. So he's not honest. He don't want to. I think he's not honest because he don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. He's a he's a kind of guy that don't want to hurt people's feelings and going to go along to get along type instead of being true and honest. So Zay gets to go meet Shanique family, and we see them. When they said Shanique father, the man that was her father, I think his name was Anthony. The man looked like he's her older brother. He does not look like it's her father. Her mother looks older than the mother looks like the mother, but the father looks like the brother or something. I was like, wow. Even the grandmother looked super young. I'm not sure what island they're from, but they're definitely Caribbean. All right, y'all. So what was we was talking about? Shanique and her family. Zay met Shanique's family. They asked about his family, and he came from very, very, in his words, not humble beginnings, but less than humble. Um, about he said something about hopping fences and stealing food and stuff for him and his siblings. He don't talk. I don't know what is in his past, but he doesn't talk to his parents at all. He was saying that they don't even call him on his birthdays, so there was nobody was going to meet anybody from his family from his past. Um, and it's very unfortunate. And Shanique's grandmother was like, "Well, you could call me. I'll call you." And I thought that was super sweet of her. Um, Randall got to meet Madeline's friends, and one of Madeline's homegirls, she let us know that she had hooked up with Colby before she introduced Colby to Madeline. And she was all giggly and googly eyed over Randall too. Like, he's super cute and stuff like that. And I'm just like, you gotta watch her. She give me the type of friend that would go behind your back and be with your man. But anyway, her friends really liked Randall. Um, they had a good time out meeting him and stuff like that. I'm realizing we didn't meet Randall's family either. That I don't know if they filmed it and they just never edited and put it into the show, but we didn't see Randall's family either. We just saw him meet um Madeline's friends. Um they had some different events where the girls met up with each other and then the guys met up with each other. And when the girls met up with each other, um Madeline was obviously juiced up and drunk, and she was saying some stuff and telling, how people was holding on to each other and, cuddling, and the men got aroused and stuff like that. And she made it a point to say that, and then Shanique hit Randall up, was like, "Can we meet? Can we talk?" And she expressed to him that she was upset with the fact that he was actually cuddling, that he was really immersing himself in this experience and actually cuddled with Madeline, and he got aroused. And Shanique, I mean, she was really mad, and he was just like, "You see how immature you're being? You brought me on this experience and told me to immerse myself in it, and I'm doing that, and you jealous." She said she didn't think that he was going to go that far. He wasn't going to do all that. What do you think they're going to do for 3 weeks if they attracted to this person, girl? And so that's the reason why she was making it so that Zay couldn't sleep in the bed with her and stuff, because she wasn't fully immersing herself in this. She was just doing this to try to force Randall's hand and make him miss her. That's what I look at it as. But she didn't expect him to like try to build a bond with Madeline, and all that stuff like that. So she was real jealous, and I just couldn't believe it. She walked off and left him standing wherever they were. He came home and he was telling Madeline some stuff, and Madeline kept saying she didn't want to hear anything about what Kobe was saying he did, whatever, because apparently Kobe hooked up with somebody that he met in a club or something during this time, because him and April weren't romantically connected. They was just being with each other for the sake of the experiment, because they had nobody else they could be with, because everybody else had paired off, and two couples that came together left together. So they didn't even go through with the whole experiment. Um so he hooked up with some random person, and Randall was trying to tell Madeline what Kobe had been up to, and she didn't want to hear it. She got hurt. She left the house or whatever, because she wanted to act like it wasn't happening. From what I gather, from what I'm saw, Kobe, he is so cute, but he is very narcissistic, and you gotta bend to his will. And I can see why she would be hesitant about marrying him. It's not just the fact that she's jaded by the fact that her parents got divorced. It's him as a person. And they really showed it during this experiment, especially during the 3 weeks that her and Kobe were together after her being with Randall. Like, they had some knockdown, they had some real bad arguments and stuff like that. And she was like, "I can't marry him." So to get to the end of the show, when it becomes ultimatum day, and he proposed to her, and she said yes. And then he also said, "Well, since you said yes, let's just get married today." And they went on and they got married that day. I said, "Danger, girl, danger, 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 danger. Why are you signing up for this? Why, girl? I want better for you." No, this is not the kind of person you need to be with. He's very manipulative and narcissistic. Oh wow, I couldn't believe that she said yes to the proposal and got married to him. Um, when Zay and Ray got back together, she went back into that. She really, really was liking Jake. I think they had a really good connection. Um, and going back home to Zay, she was like probably not feeling it so much. Um, I feel like even though there was an attraction and so many similarities between Ray and Jake, they both were two of the same thing, both not really expressing their emotions and their feelings like that. And he's so passive and she's so passive. They would have just coasted along if they would have got together and stuff like that. And they ended up going back to their partners. Um, he had up to me. He already made his mind. He wasn't going to marry April. I mean, he wasn't going to propose to April, and he did it. He actually told her he wasn't proposing to her. She thought he would. She even thought she was pregnant at some point. She really wasn't. It was her hormones. Um, they didn't get engaged. They actually showed him going to Rachel and saying, "This is a ticket, and we can go anywhere you want to go. We can go on a trip and get to know each other, like go on a vacation, go somewhere, and try to get to know each other outside of this process." And she said yes. This was the finale episode. She said yes to that. Um, Shanique and Randall. Randall proposed. Shanique said yes. She finally got her ring. I didn't think that was a good idea either, because Shanique was still showing during the 3 weeks that they showed them living together. She still showed herself to be very, very immature, and she's very bossy too. Like she do care for him, she really loves him, but she was super bossy. And I noticed that she didn't listen. She didn't allow him to express himself. She was already harping on him for whatever reason before he can say how he truly felt about things. And when he was with Madeline, he got to express himself. And Madeline did tell her, like, y'all need to like listen. Madeline told Shanique she need to give him a chance to express himself and listen. She also said the same thing to April, like you need to give Jake a chance to express himself and just listen to him, you know. And then so them two so Shanique and Randall got engaged. Kobe and Madeline got engaged and married the same day. Zay and Ray, they broke up like a couple days before the ultimatum was supposed to be given. Um, cause she found, she told him she don't think she can marry him, and she still really wasn't expressing herself, but she did say that she don't think she could. She don't see where they could go, and he ended up getting upset about that and leaving the house and not coming, or leaving the apartment and not coming back till 8 the next morning. And she was upset about that and then got into it about it, and she was ready to put hands on him. So she said, I think you just need to leave. So he left. They broke up. They didn't even do like that whole coming up to the meeting space to say, do you want to get married, because they just broke up for good. And so you had two people get proposed to. One actually went through and got married the same day. One couple just got engaged. Two couples break up. And then the exes up from two of the couples decided that they was going to try to see what things can be like outside of the experiment with each other. So then we get to the reunion show. All of the couples are sitting there except for Colby and Madeline. And Nick and Vanessa introduce everybody, and they smile and everything. They say, we noticed they are missing, but let's bring them on out. And they come out, and Madeline got the huge baby bump. She's 7 months pregnant with a little girl. I said, oh my God. You don't want to wish bad on nobody, but I don't see them lasting for the long term. Because for them to last for a long period of time, she's gonna have to acquiesce to whatever he says, because he gaslights her, and he's very narcissistic, and he flips the script and switches and make everything her fault a lot. I noticed, but we're gonna see how this is gonna work out. Um, with all the couples at the reunion, we find out that Alexis and Hunter, they are still engaged. They're actually planning their wedding. She said we getting married in June. His mother is actually a wedding planner, so she says she saved about 25 grand on that alone, because the mother is doing the wedding planning for her. Um, and she really, really loves him and wants to be with him and have his children, because he obviously got money. Remember, it was a financial decision for her. But then on the reunion, she tried to say, after looking back at the show, it is more about the person and not just about finances and stuff like that. But yeah, hindsight is 2020, especially when you already proposed and planning a wedding to the person that you know got the money. So girl, bye. Um, we find out Shanique and Randall. He proposed. They went home. They stayed engaged for a couple of months, and then they broke up for 6 months. They called the engagement off and broke up for 6 months, and then they just before the reunion, but just before it was time to film the reunion, they started talking and they working on it again. We find out that Jake and Rachel never went on that trip. Rachel says they came to a consensus and was like, no, it's going to be too hurtful because it's just too fresh from us breaking up with our people that we will go on a trip with each other. Zay interjects and said, no, that's Cat. Tell the truth. When they said they was broke up, him and her, Zay and Rachel was still having sex. He said we was still smashing, we was still having sex every day, and she tried to say no, not every day. And he said we were still very much having sex with one another. So how could she go on a trip and try to see where things could go with him when she's still sexing me? Jake and April really did break up. April said she was hurt, and you could tell she was hurt. Cause she came to the reunion. She was a brunette or dark hair, as most Asians are. She came back with bleach blonde hair, and I said that looked like something she did to try to make herself feel better about her circumstances. But she said that she actually met somebody and they are engaged. So she met somebody after about 2 or 3 months. She met somebody and they got engaged to each other. I said, what? Wow. And apparently he's an older gentleman. Nathan and Lauren, they're still together. Um, they went to counseling and everything, and through counseling, she has decided that she would agree to have at least one kid with Nate. So they still together. And I'm just like, bull crap, whatever. Who's to say if that's gonna last or not? So that's what happened on the show. It was some nice conversation. Zay said he hasn't been dating anybody. Uh, Rachel came out and said since everything happened, like her and Zay called it off. They stopped having sex with each other and stuff, and really went their own separate ways. Um, and she met somebody, and she was struggling. We find out the reason she couldn't open up as much and be emotionally available is because she's struggling with her sexuality. Because she said she's bisexual. She's been seeing a woman for the last few months. I said, well, okay then. And the woman is the only person she's been with. I said, oh, okay. Makes sense. So that was it. That was the ultimatum. Um, it remains to be seen, the ones who decide to get married and get engaged, if it's gonna last past this. Um, we'll see. The show was something else. It was something else. It was an experiment, but I'm telling you from my own personal experience, I don't think it's a good thing to be giving somebody an ultimatum. I don't think you would want somebody to propose to you because you said propose to me or else I'm walking away from you. You know, you would want somebody to want you genuinely and want to marry you genuinely. You'll save yourself a lot of heartache if you do that. If you go live by that. Okay? This has been another review. Long winded as hell, but this was my review for the Ultimatum on Netflix. I hope you guys enjoy this. Get down in the comments and tell me what your thoughts are on the couples and all the stuff that happened on the show. Because it was some mess. Because you know who was messy? That daggone Alexis. Because when they had that girls' night out kind of thing, she came, and for what reason, I don't know. Because it's not like she was participating in the experiment anymore at this point. But she came to that, and she was dropping little nuggets and stuff like that, little sparks here and there, and crumbs to start some mess, and it did get some mess started. So yeah, it was messy, but it was an okay show. I watched it all in one day. all the episodes and the reunion. I binged it in one day. Um, I think it's 9 episodes, and the 10th episode is the reunion, if I'm not mistaken. So if y'all haven't checked it out, check it out. Oh, it's the end, but spoiler alert. See y'all. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button if you haven't already. And I'll see y'all in the next one.